In today's show, I'm going to show you 5 trade opportunities. I'm also going to show you how I made $15,000 in almost a passive way, where I just open and close a trade, let the machine work for me. And we're going to have a look at the path to the much anticipated, long-awaited altcoin season. So smash the like button, hit the bell notification, and if you're not already subscribed, subscribe to the channel. Let's get straight into the show content. Starting off over here with Banter Bubbles, just showing you the opportunities that are actually out there. Now it's your job to pick the winners, not only the winners against the USD pair, but the winners against the BTC pair. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit in today's show. And then I'm going to show you a very easy way to gain your entry into these winning positions. And I'm giving you 5 of them, right? So smash the like button if you want those 5 trade opportunities. And let's get into it. First, we always need to look towards Bitcoin and see the health of the Bitcoin market to determine where things are going next. And I've always given this as a very, very easy, simplistic approach. And it goes like this. It's really as easy as long as Bitcoin price is holding above the 21 exponential moving average. And that moving average is angled onwards and upwards, governing price towards the upside, then you know that it's pretty much a healthy market and dips are for buying. So you can see that we did have some choppy periods where we spent time below, but it didn't take too long for price to regain that. And now price is back above that. And you can see there is the potential here for springboard effect and continuation. Most importantly, though, we've broken the long-term downtrend with the stop and reversal indicator. Those little asterisk signs that were governing price towards the downside, they have been broken. They've popped below now, which means it's no longer resistance. And this makes it easier for Bitcoin to rally towards the upside. And if Bitcoin rallies towards the upside, you know, we've been in quite a few major upside expansive moves. And this means we're getting ever closer towards the, of course, much anticipated, long awaited altcoin season, and we need to look towards some of the top performing coins. So, you know, keeping it very, very simple, you can see when you look at Bitcoin over here, we made the lows, we pushed up, had a consolidation back down. So call it, you know, Elliott waves, if you will. That's wave 1, wave 2 down, wave 3 up, wave 4 correction, and we're waiting for the 5th and the final breakout out of this region over here. And you can see we've started to peak our head above, which means that times are getting exciting. We know that typically these altcoin seasons tend to occur when, as per an Elliott wave, you lead into that 5th and final leg towards the upside, which is what we're waiting for right now. So is it altcoin season? That is the question. If you have a look at this chart over here, this is a famous chart called the altcoin season index chart. And typically, in order for it to be alt season, you need to see the majority of the coins on CoinMarketCap outperforming in the top 100, right? Should be outperforming Bitcoin. And then you move into full on altcoin season. But the way that I like to utilize this chart is mostly as an oscillator, right? So think of it when the oscillator comes down to the bottom. If you look at my cursor over here, if your RSI comes towards the bottom, that's actually usually where you want to be moving into a position looking for a long trade to the top side, right? And when it gets to the top side over here, you want to be looking to counter that and short the trade to the bottom. So simply put, what it means is, if you can see on the bottom over here, it's Bitcoin season and you're treating this as an oscillator, that's sometimes the best times to be looking towards the altcoins, treating this as an oscillator. And as that moves up into, of course, altcoin season, then you're looking to counter that, move back out of the altcoins into Bitcoin, and then it usually comes down showing that it's going back into Bitcoin season. So we're seeing the oscillation around these low regions and the potential for this to spring towards the upside, and we're waiting for things to play out like this. This is your typical path to altcoin season. Remember, stay tuned till the end because I am giving you 5 trade opportunities which you can execute right here, right now, live. And I'll show you one that worked out for me where I made over $15,000 worth of profit, right? So we've, for the most part, we've been in Bitcoin season. Remember, money then flows typically into Ethereum or any of the large cap blue chip altcoins, you know, like the Solanas, for example, in this cycle. And then they oscillate back and forth with each other. And then typically those blue chips, usually it would be Ethereum, outperforms Bitcoin. And then we start to hear talks of the flippening, right? We've been hearing talks of the flippening where Solana is to flip or looking to flip Ethereum at least. And then you lead into the rest of the altcoins rallying full force and prices moving up higher. So I think, look at this chart over here. This is something I've never brought up before. The flow of the crowd during the 4-year crypto cycle looks like this, right? First, in the midst of the bear market, we've already passed that phase, right? No one wants Bitcoin. That's when you should be accumulating Bitcoin and Bitcoin alone using US dollars, right? Then you move into the next phase, and these are the psychological shifts that tend to occur. Bitcoin makes a parabolic move. The crowd flips and floods into Bitcoin. Altcoins go down significantly, not in USD values, but in Satoshi values, right? That's when you should start to accumulate altcoins with the Bitcoin that you bought for cheap in phase 1 at the bottom of the bear market. Now, I would say this is probably more or less where we're at in terms of the altcoin season. And then you progress into phase 3, right? After Bitcoin stops going up and starts consolidating, right? The crowd moves into altcoins. That's pretty much what we've seen. If we look over here, we've had the 7-8 month consolidation. So a lot of the crowd did move into altcoins, and that's where you want to sell some of those altcoins for BTC during that minor altcoin season. That's what would have happened in March of this year, right? Then you go into 3A, right? Which is where we can actually loop back here while Bitcoin does make another leg up. And that's anticipation over here. We could start to see Bitcoin make another leg up, but it's still, if you're choosing the right coins that are showing they're coming into key supports against Bitcoin specifically, and the USD value lines up with the same support levels, then you have a trade opportunity where you might be buying, the likes of the Solanas and the Mantras, as well as the Popcats and the GigaChads, which have outperformed Bitcoin for the majority of the cycle. And those are the ones that we're looking for, right? Those are the biggest gainers. Again, if you go back to this chart, these are the massive winners that you tend to see, which are going up hugely in both Bitcoin value as well as USD value. Now, eventually, you might only just do this loop once or twice, and then you move into 3B, which is on the final altcoin season. We don't loop back at all, right? We don't go back to where Bitcoin outperforms the altcoins. And ultimately, many of your no-coiner friends, these are people not interested in crypto, are asking you about Bitcoin, which has already rallied, and the entire herd is here. And that's where we move into the full-on alt season, right? The rate of new participants to the market then has slowed down significantly, right? Bitcoin has a blow off top and the bear market begins. Sell your Bitcoin and your altcoins and everything, for USD or long-term BTC bags that you want to hold forever. That's generally the path. That's the cyclical fashion that we look at. And we can use other tools, right, to see, is this in fact true? And one thing to look at is, of course, the massive rising wedge over here that you have on Bitcoin dominance, which rising wedges are traditionally bearish patterns that eventually break down. And we know that if Bitcoin dominance breaks down and it's nearing its end over here, that's one tool that we can utilize to determine, when is the best time to start to look towards the altcoins. So in terms of the loops, right? If we go back to the loops, remember we spoke about, Bitcoin starts to move aggressively. We go into phase 3, some altcoins run, and then sometimes you go back into 3A where Bitcoin loops back and starts to outperform. Well, that happened. It did happen. We've already finished the loops, in my opinion, right? This was the looping period where you loop between, of course, 0.2 into 3 into 3A, which takes you back to 0.2. But now we're probably about to transition into phase 3B. And the reason we're about to move into phase 3B is because Bitcoin dominance is reaching the apex of that move. And therefore, we're looking for a breakdown. And if this breaks down, altcoins are going to absolutely fly. And then, it's altcoin season, which is your traditional chart that we're treating as an oscillator. You'd expect this is going to start to trade up towards the altcoin season line, where 75 of the top performing altcoins are completely outperforming Bitcoin on a 90-day basis, right? Over 90 days, it should be outperforming. Now, what are the best positions that you can get in? That's what we're talking about. Again, smash the like button, guys. I'm giving you 5 coins today and showing you a very, very easy trade strategy that you can utilize to get into these positions, right? So first and foremost, I want to highlight 𝗬𝗎, right? Now, I established a 𝗬𝗎 position. This is the trade where I made $15,000 worth of profit, and I was simply utilizing this as the key range low. This is now measuring 𝗬𝗎, which has been one of the top performers recently, but 𝗬𝗎 against Bitcoin, right? Keyword, I want to make sure that my coin is outperforming Bitcoin or at major support against Bitcoin if I'm going to buy the USD pair. So we went ahead and we bought the USD pair while simultaneously the 𝗬𝗎 Bitcoin pair was at a major bottom. This simply means that as 𝗬𝗎 rises against Bitcoin, you are outperforming Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin goes up 1%, 𝗬𝗓 probably goes up 4 or 5%. If 𝗬𝗓 goes up 10%, if Bitcoin goes up 10%, 𝗬𝗓 will probably go up 40 to 50%. So it's increasing at a much greater magnitude. And eventually that hits a range high, which is what we've seen over here. And this is typically the point where you want to look to start to close out some of those positions in the range high against Bitcoin and maybe move from the 𝗬𝗓 position back into Bitcoin for better gain. So that was the trade opportunity over there. We were looking at it all the way down here for the final shakeout. We got this big move towards the upside, and now we're getting a pullback. Now, 𝗬𝗓 will probably find support over here at about $1.40. That was a key level previously, if you look back at the strong horizontal over here. So I do believe there'll be support. Now, this is not the trade opportunity. I'm going to give you the trade opportunity, but we're using the same basis. We're measuring the BTC pair, so the coin against the BTC pair, and then we're measuring the coin against the USD pair, and we're trying to line it up. Now, I found 5 coins that are coming into key zones, not only against their USD pair, but against their BTC pair as well. And this may warrant a great opportunity as we move from phase 3 into phase 3B, which of course will send us into that period of the market where Bitcoin breaks up and the altcoins actually outperform best. So there's the trade that I took over there. Here's my 𝗬𝗓 trade. I'm up $15,837 on this trade, 31.5%, and I used a bot strategy. That's what I utilize. You can do this manually, and you can also do it in an automated system. You can see my bot is still running. The reason I've left my bot running is because I believe that 𝗬𝗓 will find major support. So if we go back to 𝗬𝗓 over here, I believe 𝗬𝗓 will find major support at about 140. And then the next bounce and move from there will probably find a mid-range support on the BTC pair, reclaim the range high, and then it's probably going to break out alongside Bitcoin over here breaking out. And part of the basis for that is because BTC dominance is reaching the apex, the end of the move, right? This is stuff that we have to look at and things we have to consider. So first and foremost, if you want to trade this alongside me, if you want to take the same type of trade to get these types of profits, the first thing you need to do is pause the video. You can carry on in just a moment. Go through to the link in the description below. Go to Bitget, sign up using the link below. You can claim your sign-up bonus, right? So there is a $30,000 sign-up bonus for Bitget. Use that specific link. It's only specific to anyone in the audience over here that's watching the show and using the link for the Banter fam. And then I'll show you how to set up the bots. We're going to get into that in a moment, right? So let's get into that. And then I'll show you the 5 coins, right? So how do you set up the bots, right? If you go, once you've signed up and you logged into your Bitget account, you can come through to the various different tabs on the top over here: spot trading, futures trading, trading bot. Quite obviously, click on trading bot, right? Now you can go through to different bots. You get spot grids. This is simply where you layer out various different areas of support to buy. And the bot, if you choose an automated one, will buy into the areas of support. And as price oscillates up and finds some sort of resistance, it incrementally sells out of the position, right? I'm using a spot grid because I want to hold these assets for the long term, but I've set it up in a manual capacity, right? So if you go through on the left-hand side, you can see you can choose the artificial intelligence one over here. This is for Bitcoin, and these are the returns that they get, right? You can see 90%, 90%, 87%, 86.87%, and this is over a 30-day period, which is very, very high returns, right? They recommend that you run these for 7 to 8 days at a time before taking your profits. I've chosen manual because I simply just want to buy and hold. So you go to normal over here, and then let's assume that we wanted to buy Bitcoin over here, right? You would choose your area of interest. So let's say the lowest price you believe Bitcoin will go to and where you want to gain this entry is $63,000, right? So you'll type that in. And the highest price that you believe price will go to is let's say where it is now, $67,000. There you go, $67,000. And then you can choose how many grids do you want. Now we'll take your assets that you've allocated to that grid. Let's assume it's $10,000 and you want 10 grids, and it will populate 10 different buy zones between those price levels that you've given. Thus, you'll have 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000 to make up the $10,000. And if price only moves through 6 of those grids, you will at least have $6,000 in the trade, and then price will, of course, move up. And then you can decide for yourself, do you want to set profits or not, or do you want the HODL mode? I choose the HODL mode because I'm playing this as a cycle long play, right? So I'm not going to go into too much detail for each independent coin because I think I've made it pretty crystal clear. The strategy that we're utilizing over here is spot. Then you go to manual, and then the parameters that I'm about to give you in these 5 different coins and charts. All you need to do is select your lowest price, your highest price, the number of grids that you want, and then your investment number, how much you want to allocate into each of those positions. When you click create, it's going to populate on the bottom of the screen like mine has over here, and it will showcase your profit and your running profit as we move through. As long as you've chose HODL, it's not going to manually sell or automatically sell anything from your positions, right? If you do this with a futures grid, it's exactly the same thing. The difference over here is that you're utilizing leverage, right? So again, you can use AI. This comes with increased risk, AI, where it does it for you automatically, or you can use the manual, which is probably my best recommendation is to focus on that. You can play around with the futures, which is leverage, right? On AI, but use less money, right? Just use less money. So what are the coins? What are the 5 coins that we're looking at today? Again, guys, smash the like button. Really helps to get the show content out there. First, Ethereum. Why Ethereum? ETH BTC looks like it's bottoming, right? We've spoken about this a lot. Bitcoin dominance is in the opposite formation, which is a rising wedge nearing its top. And if you go to ETH BTC, well, it's in a falling wedge reaching near its bottom, right? Coming towards the apex, strong horizontal support, pivot level coming in over here. I'm looking for a bottom. I'm looking for a bottom anywhere around here. You know, worst case scenario comes down to 0.03. But if the USD pair lines up, well, we would expect some sort of a catch up against the BTC pair where ETH should start to outperform BTC. And if we have a longer term perspective or time horizon, then we should be okay, right? So there's the trade. That is the trade setup. I'm giving it to you literally on a silver platter. If you do appreciate it, guys, smash the like button. There you can see USD price range bound over here between around $2,100 and on the top side about $3,900. And you have price having already broken this down sloping trend line over here, forming an ascending triangle. I'm looking to allocate into ETH between a low price. So where I've placed my stop loss is where I'd actually place the lowest price for potential entry, which means you actually have a lot less risk on the table. And then you can do a manual stop out should price, start to hover below that region. So calculate your risk, but I'm looking to enter, between current price over here at about $2,500 and down to 2,271, spreading various different grids for entry levels within that zone, right? Target levels, I'll be looking to target all the way up to $3,400. But the truth be told, I'll probably hold this as a compounded long trade. Should price even reach this level, that's a 38% move, giving you a very favorable 5-to-1 risk to reward ratio, which is very, very healthy trade opportunity. Let's go on to the next one that I looked at over here. And this is NEAR, right? Part of the AI sector, which has been one of the hottest topics within the crypto market. If AI runs, NEAR is probably going to run as well. And not only is it AI related, but it's also a layer 1, right? So we know that typically the large caps, if we go back over here, the large caps are your layer 1s. Those are the safest ones. Those tend to run first, right? So coming into key support over here, got a little bit lower against the BTC pair possibly, but if you look at the USD pair, I'm looking to scale in, strong horizontal support, broken out of the falling wedge formation, coming back down, perfectly testing that trend line over there. So we're looking to scale in between $4.20 and all the way down to about $3.17, spreading the grid, right? Remember, you put 317 over here. If you go back to the grid, let's go back to the grid over here. So your lowest price in this instance, then you would put that at 317. And then if we go back to the chart over here, your highest price you would then write is 420, right? So 317 over there, highest price 420, set the number of grids that you want, and you should be in on that trade. Now, it's a very low risk, easy strategy that any of you can employ, right? Remember that, sometimes in life, the simplest things do the best. Don't complicate things. Sometimes if you keep it simple, the saying, keep it simple, stupid, and you will succeed in the long term, right? Then we're looking for a move all the way up 84% higher. That should take price to about 770, and you can look to take some profits. Next one, Injective had a really, really hard knock towards the downside, coming into strong horizontal support, literally right over here. So Injective against BTC, I'm looking for that to bottom. And if that bottoms and Injective USD looks good and bounces, then we should expect that Injective should outperform Bitcoin. So let's go to the injective USD pair. Here's the trade opportunity. You set your lowest price down at 13.95 and your highest price is over here at 18.60, giving you a gradual entry, right? As price moves down, if it doesn't hold here and it comes a little bit lower, you'll get some more orders filled and then targeting all the way up to the top side of the range. If it can reclaim above $31 over here, injective probably then ends up moving all the way up to about $42 while the rest of the market rotates, right? Again, reminder, at that point, we can say, you know, we're not going from 3 to 3A, but we're going from 3 into 3B, where everything runs. And of course, our beloved Bitcoin breaks out of this region over here. So I've given you, again, I've given you just a reminder. I've given you Ethereum. I've given you over here NEAR as a trade. I've given you injective. So that's 3 trade opportunities. And then the next one we're looking at is Casper is the 4th one, right? Casper coming into strong horizontal support of here. It's been absolutely obliterated. Again, this is on the top side of the Casper BTC range, is where you probably want to sell some Casper, move back into Bitcoin. When it gets to the bottom, you want to sell some of your Bitcoin, move back into Casper, especially if the chart lines up, right? And does the chart line up on the USD pair? I personally think it could come a little bit lower since I already have Casper exposure from way earlier within the cycle when prices were much, much lower. I'm going to wait patiently, right? I'm not in a rush to get into this position. I do think you might bounce if you reject from the underside resistance over here, also known as the range quarterly, which is right around this 12-cent region. Then you can expect one more drawdown on the USD pair, and that could take you down to, again, 0.0974, and that's where I'll be looking to start to scale into an order over here. I've put this one, I'd put a pretty hard stop down at 0.075, and you can target towards the top side of the range. And again, if you are transitioning, I want to remind you from 3 to 3B where alts run, then you can expect that, you know, truth be told, Casper is probably going to break above the top side of the range over here and be one of the top performers. And the 5th one that I want to give you, this is the last coin. And look at that beautiful chart, is Mantra, OM against Bitcoin. It's just been respecting this phenomenally, and it's been one of the top performers within the cycle under the real world asset sector, right? Coming into strong horizontal support, meeting up with the diagonal, that's just been absolutely beautiful. At the very least, you're looking for a reaction out of the zone. And if we go through to the Mantra chart over here, you'll remember that we actually took profits right at the top over here, and we'll be looking to allocate back into the zone. Now, because it's had a stellar move towards the upside, this one's a little bit more tricky, right? So the areas of interest, you want to watch how it reacts and holds at the 0.5 level for Mantra against USD. That's your 123 zone. If it loses that, I think very, very strong support will be found at the golden pocket, which is your 618 to 65 fib level. And that lines up with the upsloping trend line. So give or take, I would be putting small buys in, probably over here at about, you know, $1.20, $1.28 to $1.20. So this pink box region. And if it loses that, then this is where I'd probably go in a little bit heavier, and I'll set another grid, and I'll probably be looking to go in hard between $1.14 and down to $1.07, right? $1.0798 is the region over there. Anything below that, and we might have to reconsider and start to stop out of those positions. So again, all of that can be done over here. All you need to do is come through here and literally just type in, you know, the chart that you're looking for. So there's Casper, right? Casper's over there. Then you have NEAR. Let's see, we have OM, Mantras over there. All the charts that I've given you, of course, Ether's over there. What were the other ones that we gave you? We gave you NEAR's over there. Just click on that. See, as easy as that. Scale your orders in. Everything is listed for you over there. It is in the YouTube description. Sign up, claim your sign up bonus today, and there's 5 amazing trades for you. So that's it from me, folks. I'll catch all of you on the next one. I hope you have an absolutely stellar day, and I'll see you on tomorrow's show. Cheers for now.